All right, welcome back if you're joining us from Speedruns Live. And if you're watching from Speed Gaming after the Dr. Mario tournament, welcome. This is a bit of a change of pace. We're dealing with lemons instead of pills. It's the Mega Man 46 Robot Masters tournament, and we've got a really close match for you, actually. Monster and Richard are pretty close in their PBs. About the 2 hours, 15-minute-ish mark. I think Richard's a tiny bit of a favorite, but it could definitely go either way. Unfortunately, both players are fated to be eliminated from the tournament at this point in the group stages. They've lost too many matches, their opponents have won too many matches, but this will decide which of them gets the unofficial third place. So it's a matter of pride for both players. A clutch kill on Gutsman there for Richard. Nice job. That was really scary there for a moment. Hopefully I'm not too desynced from what's on stream. Fiesel, if you're there, if you could read off what one of these... Yeah. Perfect. All right. Wonderful. If you've just come or if you're just joining us, you haven't been watching Mega Man today on Speedruns Live, I feel compelled to inform you the chat has been feeling rather punny, and they only started as of Mega Man 5, so the first 4 games, it's a lot of Robot Masters worth of unused puns ripe for the picking, so if you see them going a little crazy in chat, you'll have to forgive them, or you can join in, depending on how you feel about puns. Generally, they're pretty welcome here on this channel if our history is in consideration. Partly my fault as well, so if you're not a pun person, I'm sorry. Moving on, we got ourselves, you've probably noticed, it's a different route from both these players. Richard has started with Gutsman. This is because he's not comfortable doing the zip in Electman stage to get the magnet beam. His opponent, Khanster, is. So he went to cut first, he's gone to Electman, and he does not have Gutsman's weapon to open the way to the magnet beam. So he's going to be doing a zip to get in there and grab it. Hopefully it goes well for him, because you can softlock, end up stuck in mega jail if you screw it up. We'll see in just a moment how that goes for him. Richard is in Cutman's stage, wrapping around there, grabbing the ladder on the bottom of the screen from the top. Neat little thing you can do in Mega Man 1. It can actually come back to hurt you in Fireman stage later on. Hopefully no one wraps around when they're hoping to initiate one of the trickier zips in this game. Pausing to take out that turret. I think he was hoping for a health drop there, is Richard, as Khanster sets up the zip, gets to the jump. Oh, but then he blew it. He had the right height. That's the hard part, getting the right height. Didn't get it from there on. So here he is, edging bit by bit into the magnet beam, does not overextend, and gets back inside the wall, which is what you need to get out of there. He's moving on. Meanwhile, Cutman got obliterated. Rock beats Scissors. He's been dulled here. That was not a sharpening stone that he got hit with there. He's dead. Always fun to see him get destroyed by the shattered block when you have Gutsman's weapon. So now Richard, a little bit ahead here, chasing his opponent through Electman stage, having trouble on this first screen, this very, very, very tricky first screen. Almost. Get up there. He's got it. Khanster making use of the magnet beams he has acquired to speed up Electman's stage. It's possible to use it on this climb to get past some of these cycles on these electric barriers, but the timing is really tricky, and if you screw it up, you can fall a pretty long ways. It looks like he's going to be going with the slow and steady climb. got lots of health cheese, so I don't think Electman going to be a problem in the slightest. Richard has a decision to make here in Electman stage. You can go left or right. Left is faster, but you have to do a really tricky corner jump, so he's going to go right and wait it out. Electman fight goes down, no problem. Gets snipped. And that's a fairly... I'm going to say he lost some time. He lost about 10 seconds, and then according to his splits, so that could have gone better for Khan. He is only about... he's about half a stage behind, I guess. It's hard to say because of the routes. We will see them synchronize eventually, but that Magnet Beam is going to help in Gutsman stage. And, you definitely do not want to let these green walker guys get out of hand. You need to shoot them in the head to make sure they go away. And you definitely want to pick up the drops that they leave behind. The game lags like crazy if even one of them is left behind. So I'm doing a good job to pick up the drops there. Richard's turn to go for the zip in the Electman stage. No, just kidding. I forgot. Completely forgot. The whole reason he took his route is so that he does not have to do the zip. Gutsman's weapon opens the way with the blocks. I think he glitched a little bit with the layering there on that ladder. He's okay. Looked like Khan did not go for the ice wrap, or he did, and it screwed him on the exit. I'm not sure. But he does have the magnet beams he needs to recover, which is good. If you get stuck without any magnet beams for this section, it's a really, really bad scene. Gonna drop down and pick up this refill. Takes a shot, uses the select glitch to tank it. They've been using that a little bit throughout the race so far. You can cancel Mega Man's knockback in this game by quickly tapping select twice, on and off. You can also use it during boss fights to refresh the collision of your projectiles with enemies, particularly bosses. Taking them down with a single projectile makes things very quick and very safe. Didn't catch how much Magnet Beam ammo that Khan had left. He's not going to go for any zips. On his way to Iceman. Richard has his Magnet Beam as well, not opting to use it in the climb up to Electman stage. Both players would rather be safe there. Iceman's down, no problem. No anticipated problems there either. Pretty straightforward. Khan's got him down. Here's Electman, opting to use the select glitch on Electman. You can also just put him in a loop of you throw the blade, hits him once, hits him on the way back. Third shot kills him. But the select glitch works just as well. Fireman stage, home to some zips. We're going to see him use the ladder to get the right height he needs to initiate the zip. There it is. The alternative is to just jump and try to place it at that pixel perfect height. Pretty hard to do. Picking up the refills in Fireman stage, that goes a long way. These platforms help you all throughout the stage, and you don't want to have to pick and choose where you use them. We see Richard trying to find the right pixel to initiate the ice wrap. Gives up on it because the longer you spend trying to get it, the more magnet beams you waste, and if you waste too many, you don't have enough to deal with the section he's in now. You want to use them to skip the Yoku blocks, and you definitely want to use them to skip the turret section. I think he's got 3 beams here. Ooh, a death during the zip for Khanster. We've seen that a number of times in this tournament. That zip is very risky, but it is worth a lot of time, so a lot of players still go for it. You need to time when you initiate the zip in order to avoid those enemies along the way. He was just a little bit off there, pays the price, and now he has no more magnet beams with which to really try it again, so he's just going to use the last one as a little bit of a stepping stone. Switching to Electman. The up and down shots from a Luckman's weapon assist in lagging the game like crazy, but they also allow you to kill these spiny enemies on the floor. Quite handy. Richard has safely navigated the treacherous Iceman turret section into the boss fight, cleans him up, no problem. Lots of health for Khanster as he moves into the fireman fight. No problems anticipated. Even though Fireman can deal a lot of damage, he's going to be able to tank any hits. And he doesn't need to tank any of them, though he does get tagged by one. Richard gets the zip. The chat isn't even discussing anything. They're just throwing their own puns out there, trying to compete for who is the most clever. Whatever, man. Chat's there for what the people want it for. And if they want it for a pun contest, then who am I to stand in their way? Using the select glitch is Khanster to deal with these troublesome bomb enemies. Really hard to avoid stopping or doing something to deal with them. Iceman's weapon freezes that turret. And Richard is really low on magnet beams here. He is not going to have what he needs to go for this last zip, so he's probably going to do the same thing, little stepping stone up to the ladder. Just high enough to get up there. See if he switches to a Luckman's weapon. Yes, he does. So following suit is Richard. He's also got a lot of health, and with a Luckman's weapon, I don't think he's going to... Pivotal moment here in Bomb Man's stage for Khanster. Getting to the ladder to set up zip. Lining up the beam with the bottom of the score. Positions the next beam correctly. Fires one beam, zips, does not overzip, triggers the screen transition, successful zip from Khanster. As both players fall into their corresponding boss fights, we can see that they're pretty close together. Both have lots of health, don't think they're going to have any problems, but the first one to finish is going to be Richard. That's Fireman down for him. Bomb Man down for Khanster. And like I thought, we got a pretty close race on our hands. One stage left for both players. Khanster needs to go to Guts, and he's going to have the Magnet Beam to speed it up. Whereas his opponent, Richard, has got to go to Bomb. He too has the Magnet Beam, so if he can follow suit with a zip of his own, generally, Bomb Man's stage is going to be faster than Guts Man's, so he will have a bit of an edge coming out of Mega Man 1. Also freezing that turret. Worth switching to Iceman's weapon for, especially freezing this Sniper Joe on the next screen. He will follow you to the ends of the earth if you give him a chance. And doing wonders to freeze the enemies on this next section as well. And proving me wrong as Khanster getting to the boss door in Guts Man stage very quickly. Magnet Beam cutting this stage quite a bit shorter than I anticipated. Bomb zip for Richard is successful, as a bomb explodes for Khanster to take out Gutsman. Richard falls into the boss fight, and Khan has about a 15-second lead coming out of Mega Man 1. Unless this Bomb Man fight goes astray, then maybe it's more like 20-25. Khan is going to be starting with Flashman. Fully expect Richard to follow suit. There it is. Pretty sure both players chose Mega Man 2 over Rockman 2. You wonder what's the difference? Actually, you probably don't. You've probably been watching this tournament a whole lot. But the Japanese version has faster text, saves quite a bit of time in the weapon get cutscenes. But it is stuck in the more difficult difficulty. There's a normal mode in Mega Man 2 that's easier than the normal mode in Rockman 2, which Mega Man 2 calls difficult mode. And that means everything has roughly double health. So it turns out that the time lost from dealing with the extra health kind of pretty much balances out with the time gained from the faster cutscenes. Really high-level players are more comfortable dealing with the extra health than others. So the top players, I think, can save a little bit of time going with Rockman 2, but most people stick with Mega Man 2. Detouring for the E-Tank is Richard. It's going to cost him a bit of time to double back, but he's got an E-Tank. Flashman is down for Khanster. Pretty solid fight. Got him before the flash, I'm pretty sure. This fight is very difficult in Rockman. Double health on Flash means you don't get to kill him pretty much as he reaches you. That's only when you get him to the halfway point. From then on, you need to deal with running away from him while still hitting him with as many shots as you can. And it doesn't look like it, but the glassy floors of Flashman's stage are slippery, so making precise movements, keeping ahead of him, and then dipping back to the opposite direction, shooting, and then resuming running away from him. Very tricky set of inputs. Very complicated fight. Thankfully, when he's got half the health, you can kind of mash him down before he really gets next to you. Makes a really big difference. Possible route divergence here. 2 ways to go. Heatman or Airman, unless you follow the disciple of Baron Haynes, in which case you'll go to Air last. Looks like these players are going to be going different ways. Heat second is the faster, riskier route. He's going to have to deal with the Yoku block sections, and he's going to be attempting the fast air strategy, I'm sure. That is the reason why you go to Heat second. Khan is going to be doing it the slower and more consistent way. Manages to despawn the Lightning Lord. That's a good start. Basically, once you have the item 1s, from Heatman stage, you can speed up this cloud section instead of waiting on all of them like But as you can imagine, trying to jump from a series of floating platforms to other platforms camped out by enemies that fill up almost the entire platform is a pretty tricky maneuver. So he's not going to go for the super jump at the end, just going to ride it out. We'll see if Khanster can make use of his faster route to put even more distance between these two players. Moving into the Heatman fight is Khanster. Not looking too great on health. Hopefully he can keep his health high. Heatman will charge you after he takes a hit. He will delay 30, 60, or 90 frames randomly, and he moves really fast once he finally decides to attack. So you can't anticipate it, and you can't react to it. So what a lot of players do, if they want to stay close to him to reduce the distance with which he charges, they stand right next to him and they pre-jump at those 30, 60, and 90 frame intervals, and that gives them the distance they need to react to Heatman charging. It's a fun little dance you can do if you really want to shave frames on that fight. Khanster opted to play it much safer, put distance between him and Heatman, take the time loss from the longer charges, but give himself the time he needs to react to the fight. Heatman is down, and likewise, Airman is down for Richard. While I was explaining that Heatman fight, he was making progress through Airman's stage. Looked like he got the kill while Airman was on the right side of the screen, so you know the fight went at least decently. And now they're going to swap Khan into Air, Richard into Heat. The one to watch early on is definitely going to be Khan. He's going to switch to Flash, get these drills out of his way. And now for this item 1. Here we go. Fast Air tried to despawn. The Lightning Lord didn't quite get it. Taking all these damage boosts. This is the baby Fast Air strategy. It makes an incredibly difficult strategy a little more consistent. Those platforms were a little too close. Needed to space them out just a little more to give him to reach that last cloud. That really sucks. Missing this strategy is really painful. You have no more Flash Stopper, you're low on item 1. It is really hard to recover. Some people opt to just take the game over to refill their weapons by killing themselves rapidly. Looks like he's going to try to play it out. And any time gained from this fast route has just been lost and then some as he slowly rides out this cloud section. Richard's setting up the heat zip from the bottom. This is the safer, much less tricky version of the zip. You get fewer tries at it, though, because you do have to wait for that item 3 to go all the way up. He does get it, and this item 2, I think, is placed a little too high to pick up this extra life. Yep, there it is. Oh well, see ya, extra life. Khanster not going to go back for any health drops. He likes the health he's at. In Rockman 2, health is really important in this stage. You can't quite kill Airman fast enough unless you take some hits. A lot of, yeah, because there's a lot of it, the patterns are very, very hard to dodge, and you can't just kind of rush him down. I think he has enough health, though, on Mega Man 2. He's going to be okay. Richard, half health during the Heatman fight, but he's playing it safe, giving himself space he needs to react to these charges, no problem. Heatman's flame has gone out. See how Khanster can deal with Airman. He did pick up a health drop. He is totally full. Some players will actually try to avoid health drops. The game pauses while your health refills, so if you don't need it, you don't want to waste that time. Able to get him on the second air shoot. That's pretty good. He should be happy with that fight. And now, these two routes are probably going to converge on Crashman stage. Did my mic crash? No. Stepped away for a moment and back. Probably audibly out of breath a little bit. So bear with me. This is really exciting though. Look at this. Look at the synchronization between these players. Health filling up. Gets the one shot on Crashman. Is Khanster, who's going to pull ahead by a massive, unsurmountable lead of about 1 second. Alright, both players heading into Quickman's fight. Pulling out the item ones for extra lives. You do need lives if you want to do Zips and Crashman stage and Woodman stage. So any unnecessary deaths will necessitate picking up an extra life. I know we've had at least one for Khan. And it's nice to have that in your back pocket in case you take a death somewhere between now and the Woodman stage. Placing that item one really late, riding it up high onto the screen to make sure it's placed high enough. Both players initiating their zips. Richard gaining a tiny bit of ground here. Cleaner execution on Quickman stage. But, I mean, that's the definition of splitting hairs at this moment. Look at this. It's a shame. We've been working on getting a new emote. A kitchen sink for when players sync up with each other. And this is where the syncs would come out in chat. If you like that idea, please let us know. We're working on emotes. We've got a bunch of new subs. What with Twitch Prime? And we want to make sure you guys are getting your money's worth. Moving on, none of the players went for the gate crash zip. Really risky zip. Doesn't save too much time, and the penalty for screwing it up can be a soft block. So understandably, the players have left it alone. Quickman fight down for both players. Not the cleanest of fights. Both players going with the backup strategy when you miss of standing next to your crash bomb and praying that Quickman jumps into it. You can't always count on it, but it is pretty reliable in my experience. Both players are now heading into Metal Man stage. You can kind of do these last three Robot Masters in a variety of orders, but generally you'll want to do Metal as a backup strat. It can help in Woodman stage, and I guess you want to do it before Bubble. It helps a lot in Bubble Man stage. Ooh, Khan going for the mini zip, doesn't quite get it. What about Richard? Nope, not gonna do it. Saves very, very little time and is pretty tricky to pull off, so most people don't go for it. Khanster just looking for that edge. I think he mostly does it as a little nod to some of his friends in the speedrunning community. Item 2 fly successful for Khan. Not so much. Well, no. He didn't go for it. He's going for the half fly, as I've just named it. Riding it to the boss door. Overall, a little slower, but a heck of a lot easier than dancing on top of the item 2, avoiding those gear clowns. Metal Man is down. He's kind of a punk. You hold down B when you enter the boss fight. You make sure you don't cross the halfway point of the room, and that avoids both of the triggers for his AI to do anything other than stand there. So he's dead. Moving on, we got Woodman, and we'll see if Richard's gonna follow. In the 46 Robot Masters category, you want to leave Bubble last if you can, because the cutscene that follows after defeating him is a little more delayed in Bubble Man's boss room due to the water in bubbles and stuff present. And you can just, as soon as he's defeated, you can turn the game off and go on to the next game. So, slight advantage leaving him last. And no real advantage of doing him before Wood. So this is the smart thing. We're going for a 3-dog flash? No. This is a 2-dog flash. But going for the mini-zip anyway is Khanster. Also 2-dog flash from Richard. Lots of different ways to deal with these dogs in Woodman's section. Though Richard got probably enough of a zip to get a 3-dog flash there if he had really gone for it. You can see how much ammo he has left on the screen transition. Meanwhile, Khanster going for good wood. Switching to Quickman's weapon here is not necessary, but makes it a lot easier to do the same zip that you did in Mega Man 1 to get the Magnet Beam. Grabbing this ladder and getting ejected into the ceiling. Does the scary part of the zip. There's an invisible ladder that he grabs there. And that's kind of the last thing between you and a good wood zip, so it is successful. Khanster pulling a little further away from Richard, who has opted not to do the zip, is instead throwing metal blades at all the creatures in the forest. Khan gonna be using Air Shooter on Woodman, actually the faster option if you're playing on Rockman 2, and pretty comparable to Heatman, the fully charged atomic fire kill. Both players staying very, very close to each other. My apologies for the Robot Masters not staying up to date. They are up to date now, and I shall do my best to stay on top of it going forward. We've got Bubble Man for both players. Last Robot Master left in Mega Man 2. Possibly my favorite music. Ooh, look at this! Khanster with the ancient strats for the Bubble Man zip. Here we go. Nice. That's the way you used to do it, folks. I couldn't possibly say exactly how old... Ooh, Richard slipping into a hole there, trying to deal with these frogs without doing the item to fly, and still falls into a hole. That sucks. But yeah, that strategy for the bubble zip is really, really bold. And it's quite fun to see Khanster pull it out. No, another frog-related death for Richard. That one's going to be a game over. Thankfully, as game overs go, that's probably the friendliest. Quick Bubble Man kill. Khan actually using all of his blades in that first volley. Had no more to throw for just a little bit. I cannot remember which side of the screen these play. I'm going to fire up the stream and have a peek so that I can mark off the right Robot Master for these guys. Khanster is on the left. I don't know why I need to share that information with you guys. Pretty obvious to you. Alright, so he is going to be moving on to Mega Man 3. He's opting with a Gemini first route. Lots of different routes by all the players in this tournament. Gemini's a pretty rough start. The screen he's on is really tricky. There's a lot going on. And you need to be able to mash pretty well to deal with the penguins. You need to be able to time your shots well to deal with the turrets. You want to be sliding as much as you can, but that varies based off of how well you do the other two things. So a lot of improvisation and stuff going on to the Gemini Man stage. Missing the proto skip by kind of a lot, actually. We've seen some players get real close and blow it. We've seen some players sail way over. But he's going to come up a little short. No zip for him either afterwards. So not only does he have to wait for that cutscene, he also has to deal with the music in the game still being there. When you skip the Proto Man cutscene, his whistling music cuts in, and then the real stage music never comes back. And that actually prevents lag in the game. The music adds a bit of lag. And Gemini Man is a really laggy stage, especially once you get to this underwater section in a moment. We'll see how he does. Meanwhile, Richard has finished off Bubble Man. He is moving on to Mega Man 3. He's going to be going with a Top Man first route. And this is even trickier than Gemini Man, I think. Though it is a little faster, so both players going all out over the generally safer Magnet first route that some players opt for. So here's this underwater section for Khan. Taking care to be on the right side of that block when he gets hit so he doesn't fall down. Manipulating these dragonflies to not be the wrong heights. He's through that section, and that's always a sigh of relief, to be sure. Also, Robot Masters should be updated to reflect that both players are now on Mega Man 3. These cats and Top Man stage that Richard is dealing with, pretty tricky to do with the Buster. Pretty good job there. We got us a Buster fight with Gemini Man. You get to go a little crazy between the two of them, firing left and right. Ooh. Turns around and fires the Gemini laser in his face. That is a death for Khanster. He's going to go back in. He's going to have more health. And he's mad. No, I don't know. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he was expecting that. We'll see what he can do. He is taking quite a lot of hits, but that's normal for this fight. As Richard's making his way through Top Man, he is going to go ahead and eat that E-Tank. Didn't like the way that fight was going. Wishes he used it last time, but what are you going to do? Top Man with the Buster is a lot less dangerous. Though I think it is a little slower compared to fighting him with his weakness versus fighting Gemini Man with his weakness. Trades a lot of hits with Top Man, but has the health to do it. Both players done with their first Robot Master of Mega Man 3. We got Khan, who is done with his Gemini start, and we had the Top Man start for Richard. So Khan is going to Needle after Gemini, and his opponent is going to Shadow. This Shadow stage is part of the reason why going Top Man first is so difficult. Mostly because of the parachute section later on. For now, the stage is largely the same as other routes. Got a Proto Man fight. Everyone's ability to fight Proto Man varies quite a bit due to your comfortability with mashing. Proto Man has 28 health. So staying behind him, jumping with him, and mashing in 28 shots is pretty complicated. Wow, the Porcupine just denying Khan from getting that E-Tank. Finally picks it up. Shadow Man stage. Pretty tricky section here. Lights going on and off. Platforms of varying heights. Shooting the enemies down while also sliding as optimally as you can is a very involved task. He does it admirably. And now he's into this really tricky spot. Parachutes. Wow, he's going for it with the Top Man weapon. Gets the first jump across. Is safe on the second one. Look at him go, twirling through the air. Lovely. Nice job on that very tough section. Do a laser for Khanster. Get him on the rebound. No, he jumps over it. Wrap up this fight. Fires right and misses. Comes back, just skims his hair. Low on health. Gonna eat the E-Tank once again. Does not want to risk dying, like his opponent did to Shadow Man. Danger with using Top Man on Shadow Man is if you are inside his hitbox while he has his invincibility frames, the top spin will continue to try to hit him over and over and drain all of your ammo. And that means you gotta buster that fight. Thankfully, bustering him is fairly controllable. He kind of hops up and down 3 times and then does a thing, and you can usually react. So if you do get stuck in that situation, you can get yourself out of it fairly easily. But if you're unfamiliar with that pattern, because you always rely on getting the topspin kill, figuring out what it is on the fly can actually be pretty tricky. Richard now going into Gemini. He too does not have magnets for this section, so he's going to have to buster these guys down. Having about setting up the positioning on this slide to make sure he clears that gap. There's a proto skip. That's going to catch him up some time over Khan, who is making his way through Sparkman stage. I don't know why it has clusters of dust blocks the way Dustman stage does. Maybe it's the way that you'll typically find dust sort of collected near a light bulb. I don't know. But they're there, and they lag the game, so if you have magnets or something that can destroy them quickly, you do want to do that. Pretty hard to do it with the buster, though. So it's going to jump past them. He's into the boss fight. He's got needles. This is not Sparkman's weakness. This is his soft weakness. Does 2 damage. And Sparkman doesn't really attack often enough that as long as you come in with a decent amount of health, you can just outpace him on damage. Scary moment in Gemini Man stage for Richard. He's got the Shadow Blades out. They help deal with these dragonflies a little more easily. And he's going to want them out for the boss fight anyway, so might as well switch now. Managed to time his jumps with some small hesitations to avoid having to take a hit from the submarine. Nice job. Shooting once, twice on the ladder, and then pausing anyway on top of the cliff to jump over that big stomper enemy. See what kind of Gemini Man fight you can come up with. Missing that final shot. And I think that Gemini laser might have been real bad for him if he had touched it before delivering the final blow. Regardless, he did. Gemini Man is down. He's going to be moving on. Meanwhile, Khan is in Magnet Man stage. He does not have Rush Jet, which can speed up this Yoku block section that he is about to enter. Gemini laser in hand. Richard is going to be going to Needle. Oh, he does have Rush Jet. I'm bad. I thought it was Snake Man stage for some reason, but no, you use Rush Jet in Snake Man's stage. That was the association I had in mind. I was just thinking, like, wait, what route is it where you do get Rush Jet for Magnet Man, if not this one? Ooh, climbing a little bit too close to that projectile, falling off, has to re-grab the ladder, but he's got enough health that he can deal with this Magnet Man fight. That's Magnet Man down. With that amount of health, I don't know if he was hoping for the shield pattern or the jump up and attack pattern. Kind of hard to say. Depends on how risky he wanted to be. But regardless, Magnet Man is down. And we'll see if Needle can go a little better for Richard than it did for Khan. Getting nice and close when shooting these lasers to prevent himself from missing. Tanks one shot, but has a very, very fast fight against Needle. He is going to be happy with that. And he is caught up to his opponent pretty good here. Just starting Hard Man stage is Khanster, despawning the bees. There are some alternate strategies to deal with them, including magnets and rush coil. Rush coil requires you to be pretty on the ball with your mashing. Into Magnet Man stage for Richard. Getting up onto the ladder is Khanster. Those those gorillas rather, or monkeys or apes or whatever they are. They are pretty scary. They lag the game and they can catch up to you and hassle you while trying to rush coil up to that ladder. So you definitely want to make sure you get out in front of them the way he did. Overall, this race is still really close. It's been a great watch so far.
I think I'm connected. Hi there.
Hi! How you doing, Doysum?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. This Mega Man race is really close. It's been going back and forth. I'm really looking forward to how this turns out.
Both of them are playing very well and seem to be having minimal problems. So you keep doing what you're doing, I'll catch up eventually.
Alright. We got a Hard Man fight. Dodging the projectiles, actually. Nice job readying himself for a quick kill afterwards. Hard Man is down as Richard slides into the Magnet Man fight. He's going with Shadow Blades rather than the Spark Weapon. Both do, I think, the same damage to Magnet Man.
Correct. So they'll both take about 7 damage off each and take 4 hits to kill him, so no problems there. Just a matter of range and angle which to kill him, so matter of preference, I guess.
Into Snake Man now is Khanster, clustering down the snakeheads as his opponent is heading into Hard Man. Just behind him. Not that he's a stage behind, their routes just happen to line up in that way. He's going with Shadow Blades to deal with the bees. Much faster than despawning them. Also going with Rush Jet to get around the Hammer Joe rather than Rush Coil.
Saves on taking some damage there, so he doesn't have to worry about the Proto Man and Hard Man fights as much. And using Top Spin here to take care of the Monkings. The returning Monkings.
What they're called? The Monkings?
Yeah, so in Mega Man 2, there's the Monkings that you encounter in Woodman stage, and then the returning Monkings are what they're called in Mega Man 3.
Got it. Hey, we're the Monkings. We like screwing you up, preventing you from grabbing a ladder, and lagging the crap out of your game.
Mythical, everyone.
We got some Rush Jet action about to be busted out in Snake Man stage. Great usage of it. You can also get to the top of the screen and jump off of it. This preserves your Rush Jet ammo because it only ticks down while you're standing on it, and it also reduces lag as Mega Man.
reduces the sprite count here, because when you're on Rush Jet, it adds to the total number of sprites by increasing it by 2 rather than 1 with just Mega Man. But go off screen and you reduce the sprite count there. Tackling Snake Man here with his weakness Needle, and finishing him off here, he managed to get on the middle platform so that he doesn't have to get to the middle as slowly here.
It's pretty tricky to get to that middle platform during the Snake Man fight. You really have to be kind of committed to manipulating it to happen. Though he did seem to kind of just throw out a jump at the end and managed to snap his toe on the very...
Mm-hmm.
Completely different stages left for both runners for their final 2
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man Robot Masters in Mega Man 3.
Yeah, we got through the laggiest screen probably in the 8 Robos, with Top Man going through for Khanster, and with Snake Man finishing up what Khanster just did, going with Richard here. I don't know what else to call him. I just call him Richard, but
That's what I've been calling him.
guess you could call him ogNdrahciR, but it's a much harder name to say.
Maybe not as hard as trying to pronounce that last name, though. It's like the NG in King, but you start with it, so I think it's like a no.
Go.
No. It's the kind of thing, if your name is NGYU, I don't even know how to spell it, but it's just pronounced kind of like win, even though it starts with an NG. And so it's a little more difficult without that Y, because it's just a vowel sound afterwards. So you end up with a no. No. Anyway, Richard, as we call him, is in Snake Man stage, doing pretty well with the pogo enemies. You time your slides carefully so you don't slide into them. That's it, NGUYEN. That's the name I'm thinking of.
So, Khanster has the hard knuckle for Top Man, so only 4 hits to take him down. But it does take some time to fly with that knuckle or fist. But a much quicker fight than going with the Buster here, so don't have to worry about his invulnerability phases. My name is very easy to pronounce, Feasel. Please. So right here with both of them going through their last stages here, with Khanster going through Shadow Man stage. Just gonna buster through just fine. That's nothing wrong with that. Same with Richard going through Sparkman stage here. Richard here is going to be switching to the magnet so that he can take out some good damage on a lot of these enemies here, and probably be able to conserve some for the dust blocks coming up here. Because the dust blocks in the next section do cause a lot of lag, so he'll want to have some ready for that. And above, Khanster was able to use the magnet to take care of a lot of the paragliders. Now, this last battle here with Shadow, his top spin is his weakness here, but he'll want to make sure not use it in his box, so to prevent any large waste of the top spin. He was able to pull off that just fine, so he's moving on to Mega Man 4 now. Richard vouching not to use the Rush Jet. It's a little bit faster to save on the lag, as well as you can be able to use the slides through the area. A little bit riskier, but it pays off. Using Shadow Blade, which is Spark's weakness. 7 hits will do the trick, and he finishes off. Moving on to Mega Man 4 as well. Khanster starts off with Pharaoh Man. Doesn't have the Bright to get through this first section quite as quickly, but he'll pull through just fine. Takes minimal damage, and faster is to get the balloon, but to give a little bit of an edge on the first section and to get a good health refill there. Gonna switch to Rush Coil to be able to jump over that pit there, give a little bit more confidence in that. And unfortunately for Richard, he did take a death in that first section in Brightman stage.
The opening jumps in Brightman stage are a little cruel, especially when the lights are off. A lot of players, for this jump in particular, will hesitate just to have the lights on and see what they're doing. He goes for it that second time.
Mm-hmm. For Khanster, he was able to celebrate getting the balloon with Rush, so happy duo celebration there.
Man's best friend is there in the good times and the bad. I'm sure chat will appreciate the opportunity to do some dog puns now.
Mm-hmm. Good luck on those Pharaoh puns. I mean, you could probably get some good puns about the stage itself, but trying to get Pharaoh in as a pun, I wish you the best of luck.
Fair away. Fair. Wish I had a can of Fairway. Sending Pharaoh far away.
So anyway, the Pharaoh fight. Probably the least damaging of the Robot Masters in Mega Man 8. But he can chain the hits pretty well if you move around too much. Best strategy is just to stay close to him so he keeps using his charge attack, which is pretty easy to dodge on its own. His collision damage isn't too damaging, but his charge shot does do 6 damage. He goes down pretty easily. Bright Man and all the other Robot Masters, on the other hand, his collision damage does 8 damage. So you want to be careful of that. At certain HP intervals, he will flash stop you, leaving you immobile, and he can just jump right into you. So you'll want to basically just lemon him at first, and then just go with charge shots the rest of the way to make it safe there.
Defeating his Robot Master about 20 seconds behind Khanster. This gap remains very small between both players. All the way up to this point, probably going to be swapping levels here. Khan heading to Bright after Pharaoh, and Richard, I'm sure, going to Pharaoh after Bright.
So they each have their own different advantages with the stage swap here, with having Bright in Pharaoh stage and Pharaoh and Bright stage, as well as Balloon if needs be, but not that much with Balloon. Having Pharaoh with Bright stage, you can use it on some of the enemies as well as use it on Bright Man for a quick fight, just having that Pharaoh shot available. With Bright stage, it's a little obvious having the Flash Stopper here. Just being able to immobilize the enemies and get through the first half of the stage a little quicker here. So you can see that in Richard's stream, he got through to the balloon just fine. And you'll see in a little bit in Khanster's side, if he uses Pharaoh Shot for Bright Man, how much more advantageous that will be.
He's switching to it now. It's possible to switch to it a little earlier and use that on the totems rather than the Buster. Takes 3 shots instead of 8. He's opted to switch to it now.
Neat little trick Khanster just showed off on the platforms there. You can basically hold right on that second platform, and that'll automatically transfer you to the third platform, but you do need to make sure to slide. Otherwise, you will not make it to the right side of it in order to jump to the next platform there.
All right, Brightman fight. He's got the fully charged Pharaoh shot above his head that he tries to crash into Brightman's hitbox, and then you see him throw that same fully charged shot right back out. You can make it count for double. The trouble is hitting the boss with it while it's above your head. Generally, that's pretty awkward. Gets flashed. See if he can recover from the situation. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, he had exactly 8 health left, so if you did crash into him, he would have been KO'd. So,
Pharaoh Man, this is a pretty scary fight. Gets another jumping attack. Is actually going to opt to flash him to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Is this enough to finish him off? Okay, he gets a second flash before Pharaoh Man gets a chance to move. That was pretty scary there.
Right, the tiny Pharaoh shots do exactly 2 damage, and so he would have... Oh, wow. So something not often seen is if you jump at the right time, you can skip the jump animation to the weapon get there. So Richard did just get that and saved a little bit of time there.
Oh, wait. I got one. If he died to Pharaoh Man, then we might have had to scold him. Tut. Hey, we got Ringman coming up. Both players have the balloons at their disposal. Damage boosting through the turrets. Also, they can use Flash Topper, and that will freeze the turrets and the enemies. That is the safer, slightly slower option.
I face desk, by the way, so give me a minute.
Yep, I'll let you get yourself situated. So we get a mini boss here. Ringman stage is filled with them, and you can take some damage to skip them. But that often leaves you with very, very low health boss fight. It's possible to do that fight very quickly and reliably without getting hit. But if you do get hit, it is almost always a death. So players have to make some decisions in their routing of this stage as to how much damage they're going to take with regards to these mini bosses.
Yeah, it's really difficult to do a no damage on Ringman himself. It's possible, it's just pretty difficult on its own. When I really think about it, how did they decide to just, put a hippo on a giant pedestal? Like, where did they get the idea?
I think that's one of those things where early in development, they went to the artists and said, we need some mini bosses. And they said, okay. And they came up with a whole bunch of ideas, and some of them, did some work and put it in the game. And then they decided on the Robot Masters, and they routed everything out. And at the end of the day, they were like, we got this hippo. What are we going to do with it? There's no zoo man. There's no hippo man. There's no savannah man. So they're like, this screen is pretty empty. Just put a hippo in it, I guess. It's fine. All right, Ringman fight. He's on kind of like a ring-like pedestal. But you could have put any damn animal on top of that thing and it would make the same amount of sense.
Hippo Man.
There should be a Hippo Man. That sounds like a Mega Man X boss, actually.
Basil's idea. Hippos leave a ring around the bathtub. That's the idea. That's the connection.
Got it. It all makes sense now. Richard has pulled into the lead by just a tiny, tiny bit. He is in Dustman stage, pulling out the Flash Stopper. There's a lot of annoying enemies that become a lot less annoying once you hit them with the Flash Stopper, and you see the players also sliding a lot. Obviously, this is faster than walking, but it also extends the countdown on the Flash Stopper. It does not tick down while you are sliding. And it lasts for 5 seconds, so combined with slides, you can make it last a really, really long time.
You'll see it come into very heavy use in a Toadman stage, where basically the whole stage is just flash stopper there. You'll see it also in a lot of use in a Dive Man stage.
Dust Crusher section, very scary. Richard's going with Buster strats. You can also go with Ring. It's a little faster, but a little more risky. If one of your shots is off, you can be in a bad situation, whereas with the Buster, it's really easy to just shoot another shot exactly where you want it to go.
Yeah, and using the ring on that last part there can be a little tricky because you have to angle the ring kind of upwards, and some newer players aren't able to do that most consistently. So, just a matter of preference.
Oh, yeah, that was not looking good. Needed to throw in a jump to try to clear out 2 blocks above him, rather than the blocks that were in line with him once they start moving down.
Mm-hmm.
That is a death, and that's maybe the biggest gap that's opened up between these players in a long, long time. And it's only half the stage. This race is far from over.
Yeah, we still got a ways to go here.
So we got a Dustman fight. I think that was an intentional hit to cancel the vacuum attack. That's something you could do if you have the health for it. That'll save you some time on the boss fight. Gets a couple jump patterns after that, so he's able to get him down. Solid fight from Richard. And woo, just barely sneaking in through the Dust Crusher section is Khanster. He's going to be glad to be done with that.
Very nice. Again, all the bosses besides Pharaoh Man do 8 damage on contact, and so if you want to reset that sucky situation of RNG, you just have to jump right into him there. Oh!
Jumping right into some spikes.
He just
Khanster.
missed the ladder there. Wasn't able to push over enough.
So that is the Dust Crusher section once again in front of him. That's annoying. 1-up drop will slightly make up for it. Look how easy it is 3rd time around. No problem.
Yeah, he's got this section down now. He just has to conquer the ladder.
Normally this ladder is not a big concern, but after that, he's got to be thinking about it. There it is. Ladder boss defeated. Moving on. Skullman actually has a lot of ladder bosses going on. There's a lot of vertical ascension going on. You can use the balloons to speed this up, but he's already got the flash stopper out. I think he wants to keep using it, so he is going to opt not to mess around with the balloons.
Another nice thing about flash stopper is normally shielded enemies don't have to deal. You normally can pierce through that shield again, for the most part there. Like those, well, I don't know enemy names. We'll just call them shieldy,
Blockface.
Yeah, Blockface. That's a better name.
So that is Khanster's actually in chat. I think he likes to tune in to the commentary. For better or worse, honestly, if people were talking about me kind of behind my back and I was listening, I mean, I guess that's not the definition of behind my back, but you get it. Like it would throw me off like crazy. I'm very surprised that players will tune in and listen to the commentary during the race, but nonetheless, he is at least in chat, and he's informing us that ladder situation could have been a controller mishap, in which case, hopefully things hold together for him for the rest of the race. It would not be the first time we've seen controller malfunctions be the deciding factor in a race.
You're doing fine, Khanster. If you can hear the sound of my voice, you're doing fine.
We're rooting for you. And the other guy, too, but...
Yeah, we're kind of rooting for both of you, so you can have a close race and it can be fun to watch. So keep doing well.
Richard moving into Dive Man stage. Has about half a stage advantage over his opponent, who has got the balloons out. He's going to be doing some of these... They kind of look like wall jumps. They're not. What he's doing is he's sticking that balloon inside the wall, and while it is despawning, because it cannot live inside the wall, nothing lives inside walls, and they just die. But while it's dying, you can jump off of its corpse. Speaking of corpses, Richard falls into some spikes in Dive Man stage. I think that was a slide-related mishap. Underwater, the sliding mechanics change. You can no longer jump out of them. They become very similar to Mega Man 6, so the players are at least a little familiar with them. But if you're not ready for the switching mechanics, you can find yourself sliding into a ledge, or off a ledge, just like that. Second time around, being careful with this flash stopper usage. You want it for these whale mini bosses, so you don't want to burn it on the stages, even though it can help quite a bit.
Well, thanks, Khanster.
He is listening. Confirmed. Skullman fight, pretty clean. You can control what Skullman does based off of what you do. What's out of your control is how long he has that skull shield around him. So you kind of just gotta wait and react to when that shield goes down.
Has to take that damage from the Crusher there in order to conserve on his bright energy. So he's got about 2 more bright uses here. Normally 2 more bright uses on this part, unless he's going to use the bright stopper in the section after the whale, which normally newer, more experienced racers wouldn't do, but he might make an exception. We'll see.
Looks like he is sliding over / under / into that manta ray on the ground, but not taking any damage. Mega Man's hitbox takes on some very odd properties while sliding. Basically, it shrinks to about the size of his eyes. If he was wearing like a Geordie LaForge visor and that had an outline, that's about what his hitbox is while sliding, which raises it off the ground enough that you can slide right over that manta ray enemy on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So, Dive Man fight's fairly dangerous here. You have to deal with a very close hitbox with your very close enemy weakness here. So, he does 8 damage contact like every other Robot Master, besides Pharaoh. And so, get used to the fight and don't die. On to Drill Man here with Richard. Should be fine. Easy fight, easy boss, easy level. Just kidding, I hate this stage. Ooh, can he escape it? Okay. So, Khanster did something that is a little scary on Dive Man stage there. He did a slide from the well screen into the second well screen into the following screen. You can't jump out of slides while underwater. And if you don't turn from that slide, you will drop into the pit on the next screen, allowing you access to the much beloved wire item, which is not very profitable for you. And so it also sends you back a checkpoint, and there's a double death. So Dive Man takes Khanster while the pit right before the checkpoint takes Richard, which is wastes about almost a minute there for Richard. So he lost a lot more time than Khanster did there. We'll see if this is the break that Khanster needs.
He's gonna have to bust her down. Well, rather, he's got the Dust Crusher for
right.
It actually deals quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, the Dust Crusher does 3 damage to Dive Man, so that is the alternate weakness you would want to use on Dive Man if it's available to you, which on the weakness order it normally would be. It's also a very safe weakness to use on him if you don't feel comfortable getting close to him with Skull.
So Richard's second attempt at Drill Man's going well. has enough Flash Stopper to make do. He has to switch off of it a little bit for this section here because he does want it for the run up to the boss corridor.
There are some alternative strategies to getting through this corridor, but it is a pain to get through without Bright because of all the lag the rocks cause.
One of the favorite things I saw was charging up a Pharaoh shot and holding it above your head the whole time so the rocks fall into it.
Mm-hmm. It also takes care of those telly dropper dudes.
Khanster seems to be preserving his Flash Stopper as much as he can.
Not a bad idea.
Richard's into the Drillman fight. He always opens with this dive, and hopefully he never does it again. Ever.
But,
one.
you know.
Also, the dive missile is a pretty unreliable weapon. I've seen it do some fantastic things.
Yeah, like
not hitting the enemy.
The accuracy of the drill, when you want it to home in on things, it kind of likes to go everywhere but on the enemy.
I saw it do a figure eight once. Literal figure eight, not hitting anything. Fantastic weapon. Does get Drillman down eventually after a couple more dives.
Yeah, not a bad fight at all.
Meantime,
Khanster is braving.
Yeah.
I hate that jump, that last jump, because for some reason it's just I always prep for it and then I just slide right into the pit.
That's not good. That's one of those things that's now in your head. And the more you practice it, the more it just gets in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always pretty bad at shaking off stuff like that. There's a perfect circle all the way around. Drill nice. Well, come on. Okay, finds the target eventually.
Drill missile, everybody. Dive missile, I mean.
It's
Drillman.
Yeah, it's very easy. Well, we have a death here at the last moment.
1 HP.
A big opportunity to make up some ground lost there.
Meanwhile,
whoop.
I was just about to say Richard showing off the Flash Stopper, but showing, unfortunately, what Toadman stage is capable of here. The only really bad thing about that Toadman stage can do is just how many pits there are in the stage. So Flash Stopper, once again, lasts 5 seconds, but you can delay that timer by sliding there, so very nice there.
Alright, should be 2 last hits here on Drillman. No, the dive missile betrays him. It's 0 hits on that cycle.
Khanster.
He is not friends with that thing.
He's telling some very harsh words to Dive Man, but I don't know if he's talking about Dive Man or Drill Man here.
It's easy to confuse the two. Dive Man is underwater, but he drills. And Drill Man has a drill, but he dives.
But he could be talking about Dive Man because of his
weapon he got from Dive Man not working as intended, I suppose.
Right. Interesting strat by Richard. He is using the Rush Jet, which is a very unpopular item to use in Mega Man 4.
Much more limited than Mega Man 3 with regards to just its general mobility.
Right, you can't choose to move anywhere you would like with it. It just moves in one direction, and it still causes quite a bit of lag. Anyway, Toadman fight, it's pretty much a given victory.
Khanster also having a death in Toadman stage. I didn't catch if it was intentional to refill his lives. I don't know.
I don't know. That was his last life, because we see the game over screen. Fortunately, he chose continue instead of stage select.
We have seen that before in the tournament. Often, I don't know if it's always the select button to switch on that screen instead of like up or down.
I think it's just in Mega Man 1 that we deal with the select button there.
That definitely caught someone off guard at least once. So another death in Toadman stage. In case you can't follow what is happening there. Basically, in this rain section, whenever you jump, you get pushed back.
But I think we're going to see another one here.
Could be. In that case, once the slide hitbox gets kind of underneath a ledge where Mega Man can no longer stand up, it will continue to keep sliding until it can stand up, and in this case, that meant sliding until it went off the ledge. So sliding up to that ledge, you need to be very careful you do not overslide, or you will find yourself in that pit exactly the way Khanster did.
And that's especially true when you get to Mega Man 6 because of how hard it is to get out of your slides. But that point will come up later.
After dealing with the rain that pushes you back in the air, you end up with these flowing water sections that will push you back when you're on the ground, so you need to kind of switch gears a little bit.
Meanwhile,
what makes Toadman stage so tricky.
Richard's having pretty good, whatever this stage is.
Starman.
Star Song.
We come here in Mega Man 5 first, because the reward for doing so is the super arrow. We're going to use it to speed up every stage thereafter with its ability to make Mega Man climb vertically very quickly, fly horizontally very quickly. Plus it is also still like a missile that can damage things, that has some edge case uses as well.
So Mega Man 5, a little bit to transition from Mega Man 4. You have a much wider and more powerful Mega Buster that can pierce through enemies. But you also have a Mega Buster that's easily interrupted by enemy attacks. And what I mean by that is when you are charging your Mega Buster and you happen to get hit while charging, it'll reset that charge. And so you have to start all over. Also, that Mega Buster will not charge while sliding, like it did in Mega Man 4, and also while you're off screen. And the only instance that's really the case is in in Starman stage.
Speaking of Starman stage, that's where Khanster is heading, and kind of in sync with each other. Exactly one stage apart is Richard, who is moving on to Gravity Man stage. So tell me about the way the inputs change, because I'm not too familiar with actually playing Mega Man 5. I've seen plenty of it at this point. But when these gravity sections go upside down, what are your inputs to move around at that point?
So the inputs are, well, you basically just have to reverse your inputs, except for the left and right, of course. Jump becomes chew, chew becomes jump. I'm just kidding, it's not that bad. But you have to reverse your slide input as well, where you have to press up and jump to slide. And so it's not that terrible, you just have to reverse your way of thinking and enjoy that. So one thing about Mega Man Fight, if I recall correctly, is that there is some delayed input when jumping off of ledges, and so when you press right and jump at the same time, it may not one input will override the other there. And so you do have to be cautious with that when you're right on the edge of a ledge there. And so I can't remember if that's Mega Man 5 or Mega Man 6. I heard it yesterday. But that's with everything overall. Not with just Gravity Man stage. If that were just an exception to Gravity Man, that would be kind of mean. Now, Gravity Man here. It's the same every time if you can get a good pattern. Nothing's different. He gets him down just fine.
It can be a little hard to tag him with the Star Crush when he's on the ceiling and he's doing that jump from left to right. You need to time your jump correctly to get your hitbox in line with his, but other than that, it's pretty simple. Khanster's in the Starman fight. Buster works well here. It's possible to get close enough to stick your Buster shot right inside Starman's hitbox, going through his shield. Helps out quite a bit in this fight. Helps out Khanster's. Gets him down. Still a stage behind his opponent.
Richard going into Sandwich Man. A lot of super arrow usage you see going here, and you really want to pick up that weapon energy so you can use super arrow again. But the dangerous part about this next screen here is whether or not you want to deal with the chicken, because if you place your super arrows and the second one you place happens to hit that chicken, it'll knock that second super arrow you place. I said that wrong. The first arrow knocks the second arrow off the screen. But looks like Richard's going to use the super arrow on a different place. Probably going to use it after the checkpoint here so he can bypass all the falling blocks. So that'll be a change of strategy compared to what the other runners are doing.
Yeah, I think I've seen it once or twice in the tournament, so possibly I saw it from Khanster himself. But you're right, it is. It's more popular to use the arrow near the chicken instead. Low on life is Khanster in Gravity main stage, so having to take it really slow on these turrets.
Right. There is a life pickup here he can grab, so he is safe with that health energy. And he's going to be using the super arrow here, which is a pretty common strategy everybody else has been doing. Many health pickups for Richard here, and Khanster is keeping his health up well. Health pickup for Khanster just out of reach as the gravity flips out of his range.
He should be okay for the Gravity Man fight, though. As long as you get there in one piece, you're probably pretty good. Similar to the Gyro Man fight, or I guess it's Gyro, if he is truly the man of sandwiches. You have the same amount of gravity holding ammo as he has health, so you just need to make sure that you don't accidentally fire while he's still in iframes, and the fight is pretty much free.
Ooh, looks like he's having some trouble with gravity, but he pulls it out in the end just a little bit slower than probably he'd like to be. So after the Master of Sandwiches goes down, he goes to the Master of Crystals.
We'll see. Probably, not going to see too much of this stage. Setting up for the Crystal Warp. It involves a death, so that's what all this damage taking is about. Avoids picking up a health drop. That's the opposite of what you want right now. Cup and ball enemy returning to try to give him the KO there. Dodges and moving on. Super arrow looks good. It is. Do you want to talk about what's going on here, or shall I?
So what happens in this trick is Mega Man transforms into the ball on the right enemy there, and he bounces through the stage precisely all the right movements. The ball can climb up the ladders too, and so eventually he reaches the boss corridor at the end. And then that bit of the ball transforms back into Mega Man as overflown code, back into underflowed code, and he's able to fight Crystal Man at the very end. I have no idea how this trick works.
I was going to say, do you want to say the real explanation, or do you want to just...
I have no idea how it works.
To our audience, bald-faced lies. So what's happening there is you're actually pretty close when you said the memory overflow. Mega Man's death sprites are filling the game's memory instead of the sprite, that second ball enemy. So the game says, well, I need to put this ball somewhere. How about I put it here? And it ends up writing in values for where Mega Man is in the stage, and that value happens to be in the boss corridor. It also says it takes Mega Man 40 seconds to respawn, so that's why you end up sitting there for so long, but it ends up being worth it. Saving over completely optimal strats, 10 seconds, but guess what? Being incredibly optimal in Crystal Man stage is very, very hard, especially if, like many people, you don't practice it, you just learn the skip. So for most people, missing the Crystal Warp is a loss of on the order of 50 plus seconds having to do Crystal Man stage.
Right. The only reason you would not skip the stage is if you're doing any percent runs to get the beat letter.
Yeah, speed is very helpful, particularly against the Wily fight at the end, the capsule fight, and that is where you will absolutely see all 4 letters. No, there's 8. It's Rockman 8. Or
Right.
4.
Rockman 8, Mega Man. Rockman 5, Mega Man 5.
Beat Man Rock. You want the bird to fight the man. And we're skipping all of it. This is 46 Robot Masters, no castle stages, no Wily, and no Wily fights. Ooh, missing the ledge there is Richard.
Got that ledge clip.
There's been a couple other places where normally, like Khanster using the super arrow to fly over that bridge, another strategy you can't use when you're trying to beat letters. Just a couple of things that open up when you do this category.
Mm-hmm. So
right,
Khanster's
arrow 1,
attempting.
Arrow 2, Arrow 3 looks good. Gets it.
Now, let's not explain it again.
Yeah, let's probably not. But I will say the setup for the trick involves having the right height on the super arrow that just kind of works out with where you line up with that ball enemy and how many frames it takes for you to line up with that enemy and when that enemy on the right side of the screen spawns. So the height you want is you want to be standing on the ground and you place one super arrow, you stand on top of that, you place the second, you stand on that one, and you place the third one.
There are 2 other setups for the trick that I've seen. One is just doing one arrow setup, and the other one is you just slide in from the left side, and they're hard.
Yep. We had the pleasure of watching Baron Haynes. I don't think it was even a backup strat. I think he just went for it, got the slide set up first try on Crystal Man stage. That was pretty awesome to see.
Right. If you do happen to do the trick and you have no lives left, you do have to wait out the full 40-ish seconds, and then you'll see the game over screen.
Yes, we've seen that too in the tournament. That's nicely dodging Napalm Man's shots while still getting in some of his own is Richard. Great fight there, despite having low health.
Crystal Eye is the only weapon where the weakness does 3 damage instead of 4 in this game. But, well, it's fast enough anyway.
Khanster's pausing to charge up his bustard for these tiger enemies. These guys are really annoying. Their hitboxes are gigantic, and they kind of lurch forward as soon as they jump.
Mm-hmm. They'll jump usually either if you fire a buster or move in a certain way, and it's just annoying.
He's got the star crash out for these drills. Getting off the screen before the third one spawned. Probably pretty close to that third spawn, actually. We've seen that appear right at the end of the screen.
Even if you go in its hitbox, you'll still take the death because it's classified as a spike enemy.
Going into the wall for the E-Tank. Popping back out. Still has the star crash out. Still putting it to pretty good work there.
Mm-hmm. The super arrow at the top of the ladders there, just to skip over everything. Stone Man stage here. He's got super arrow set up for the I don't know what to call this screen, the really stupid lots of guard shield and tele screen.
Those mountains in the back are pretty iconic. They could probably inspire some sort of name for this screen.
Inspirational screen.
Sure.
Inspirational screen 2, inspirational screen 3.
It's not the unique screen, it's the inspirational screen. It's okay if there's multiple sources of inspiration. It's just good stuff all around. We got another Napalm Man fight from Khanster, who is also getting his shots in while avoiding those missiles. He does get hit once. He too is in a similar health crunch as his opponent. Hold on.
One more hit. And he gets it. Meanwhile, Stone Man, there's really nothing remarkable to say about the Stone Man fight, just that you want to get your hits in as much as possible, because he just likes to hop. Starts off with a Power Stone always.
Your glorious reward for beating Stone Man is the Power Stone weapon. It's bad. It's not the worst.
Glorious is one word for that,
good.
yeah.
I mean, if something is so spectacularly bad, I think you could call it. You could call it glorious.
Yeah.
So he's moving into Charged Man stage.
He does have a dedication.
Oh, good.
Why don't you announce it?
Richard dedicates the chicken room to all the people helping out with the tournament, streamers, casters, all of you.
That's me.
That's us. Yay!
And me.
And you. Especially you, I think.
Yay. Yay.
So, that is his chicken room dedication. We'll see in a moment what that how that affected his performance in the chicken room. He's on the super arrow flying over all of these train enemies. It gets stuck in the wall. I don't think he was expecting it to get stuck in the wall, so he got held up a little bit.
When it's an arrow with a plunger at the end of it, and you call it super arrow, that's what it does. Now that I think about it, I guess that's what makes it super, is the plunger at the end.
Yeah, not the fact that it can support the weight of a full-grown man and can be placed in the air where it sits for a solid second before doing anything, or the fact that it materializes out of thin air, or any of that. It's the plunger at the end that makes it truly super.
And it's not just a man; it's a Mega Man or a
Mega Man. I'm sure he has a mega weight to him too. He's probably not all that light. All those heavy.
Could it support Dr.
parts.
Light though?
Dr. Light actually is quite light despite his size. It's kind of like a balloon. Is really big and round, but still light. That Dr. Light is, yeah. Charge Man.
Yeah, Charge Man.
Just gonna go ahead and take a death there. I'm sure that's what happened.
He got picked up quite a few lives in Charge Man stage, so
it is Mega Man 5. So lives are aplenty. He's gonna pull out the Power Stone weapon. We're gonna see if he knows how to use this thing in order to hit him multiple times without pausing. Looks like he's gonna go straight into the pause strats. This is to clear Power Stone sprites off the screen so he can shoot again, because otherwise they just go spiraling around doing absolutely nothing but wait.
Right, and it also helps mitigate some of the lag that this flying stones do, because, well, stones that are just flying around the screen add some of the sprites to the screen. Redundancy for the win.
So he's done with Charge Man, as his opponent Khan is heading into the same fight. Oh my god! The custom on-screen dedication to you and me. Thank you so much, Khanster. Looking forward to our very own chicken room, except it's one of 2 chicken rooms we have now.
We got 2 dedications.
That speaks volumes, I think.
I think it's very precious.
About our performance. Nice to get the respect that such top-tier commentary as Dr. Light is like a balloon is worth.
Yeah, because that's what I want to remember from this stream.
Yeah. So we got riding super arrow across the screen. He's not going to get stuck on the arrow plunger into the chicken room. Misses that 5th hit. Takes a hit.
Unfortunately, we missed a bubble skip. Like, he missed a bubble skip. I guess we missed it too. But
that's right. We all missed it, and we're all sad about it. And see if he's going to switch to the arrow. Yep.
One thing also to note about Mega Man 5, as shown by Khanster just now, is the invulnerability frames of enemies. enemies do have invulnerability frames, 8 frames between hits. Enemies will not take damage, and so you cannot mash on enemies as you normally would in the other Mega Man games. And so instead of on the Crystal Eye, on the chicken there, Khanster had to use 5 Crystal Eyes instead of the normal 3 that it normally takes to take down the chickens, because he shot so fast on them.
Yeah, I watched him fight the second chicken and it went down in 3. Wait a minute. I think I called that one wrong. Got the Dive Man auto-scroller in progress for Richard. Did not go for the boat skip. Very minor time savings. With a risk of soft lock, though it is a lot of fun to play around in the auto-scroller, being able to move freely, go invisible. But an upside to it that I never really considered until someone in chat pointed it out one time is that it's actually kind of not too easy to avoid taking damage in the auto. There, Richard takes a hit from that dolphin, and health can be a concern, so getting the boat skip actually makes it easier to preserve your health.
Right. Saves 3 seconds, but if you can avoid the soft lock too, that time save is kind of helpful too. Khanster nearly died to Charge Man, but he had an energy tank in store, so he was able to survive that fight just fine.
He's a little more than one stage back at this point. Wave Man is a particularly long stage, but 1 or 2 mistakes from his opponent in Mega Man 6, and we're going to have ourselves a really close finish. Wave Man is down. He was really low on health, trading hits quite a bit there, the way you typically do when you get really aggressive with the charge kick.
Entering Wave Man with low health is not an ideal situation to be in, but he had enough health to make it through, and moves on to Mega Man 6.
He's going to be starting with Windman. Buster, very effective in this stage, even when you have access to a bunch of other weapons. Makes it a good starting point, and it also means you get the weakness of Flame Man afterwards, and that's really good. You want Flame Man's weapon early on, because it is very useful throughout all the other stages.
Right. Mega Man 4 has 2 different routes. I mean, you either choose Pharaoh Man or Bright Man first. Mega Man 5 has that one route. You always start with Starman. Mega Man 6, most people will go with Windman first. Occasionally there's the older route where people go with Flame Man first, but for the most part people will stick with Windman first, just because he is a very easy stage to go with just Buster. And that's probably what you'll be seeing from both these runners here today. Using the Wind Storm ability is pretty effective on enemies. Unfortunately, it does lag the screen, and so most runners you'll see not using that weapon. And so, did Khanster soft lock?
Whether it was a soft lock or not, I didn't quite see, but Khanster definitely at least thinks it's a soft lock.
So it looks like he's going to be passwording to get back into the Mega Man 5.
This is hurting his chances of making a last-minute comeback by quite a bit here.
Yeah, he's lost about a minute or 2 on that soft block, or that reset here.
Back into the start of one of the longest stages in the 46 Robot Masters. So his opponent is finishing up Windman. He's not too great on health, but it's possible to take this fight fairly safe by putting some distance between you and Windman.
Looks like he's trying to get all these slides in while he's charging, so you can get some extra speed on his charge down. It's not a strat often used, but you can save 1 frame per slide by... you can save your... I don't know how to phrase this. How do you phrase this?
While sliding, you save an extra frame.
While charging, if you slide, you save a frame per slide.
Alright.
While charging. That's a really hard thing to say. But basically, your charge go faster if you slide.
Yeah. And it's you want to try to throw in as many slides as you can, rather than less longer slides. It's about number of slides, right?
Right. That's the word. Anyway, Flame Man stage. And Wave Man stage. Khanster didn't soft lock at all. And looks like he's going through Wave Man's just fine. Flame Man stage is, by a lot of people's opinion, pretty fun to play through, but also kind of dangerous if you just rush through the flame tellies and have them get the lava pits lit up.
Yeah, this last section, I think, maybe not so fun due to the random nature of the flame throwing enemies. These guys, they can kind of knock you into a pit, and it won't really be your fault. Gonna go down for the E-tank. Take a couple hits. Hopefully he can get through the stage without having to use the E-tank.
Okay, Khanster confirming it was indeed a soft lock there, so that's the unfortunate.
Both players sliding into their corresponding boss fights.
Khanster has a decent amount of health for the Wave Man fight. You can slide through with Charge Kick through the arrow and Wave Man, but you cannot slide through the Wave Towers.
Richard defeats his boss, but Khanster takes a death. Seemed to be playing a little off, getting hit, like almost keeping himself in iframes rather than the boss.
He could be a little.
He just jumped into the boss too, like no slide, just straight up jumped into him.
Yeah, starting off with that Charge Mega Buster and going into Charge Kick does not really do much, since the Charge Shot does 3 damage while the Charge Kicks do 4 damage, and so with 28 max health, that does not really change the outcome. But well, in case he ran out of Charge Kick, I guess that was a good backup strategy.
We got Blizzard Man coming out from Richard, image boosting through some walruses. Ooh, getting tagged by that copter enemy and falling into a pit. Minor time loss, and he's got a pretty big lead to play around with, but if he makes a habit of mistakes like that, he could find himself robbed of a win here. Blizzard Man stage. Some things going on here with ice physics with regards to sliding.
Right.
Details of which I'm a little fuzzy.
So, Blizzard Man stage. So, with sliding in Mega Man 6, 2 things with sliding to get out of sliding when you want to jump out of it. Since you can't jump out of sliding directly in Mega Man 6, you either can press the opposite direction, or you can just press A to stop the slide immediately. However, as you just saw on Richard's stream, if you do it on ice, if you touch the opposite direction, you'll either just start sliding in the opposite direction immediately, or if you jump out of it, it won't stop you in your slide, but you'll just keep sliding in the same direction, and so you have to keep that in mind when you press A. So ice physics do get a little wonky in Blizzard Man stage. So far, no deaths though, so he did manage to get through Blizzard Man stage okay. It's just this last screen, which can trip up a few players, especially if he decided to...
Do you think he was going for bomb skip there?
He was going for bomb skip, and he smirked as he died. He knew what he was going in for.
Wow. A bold move, perhaps aware of the lead he has and thinks he can get away with a death there. Worth going for it should he fail. Speaking of death, Khanster taking one of his own. He is game overing and is back to the very start of Windman stage. see what he's going to do. No bomb skip this time. He is going to take the damage boost, though. Didn't really have to do that, but he should have enough health for Blizzard Man. See what kind of patterns he gets from Blizzard Man. Instantly gets a roll. You don't want to see those. Can't hit him while he's doing them. Much rather see snowflakes or him just kind of putting around the screen, not really doing much of anything. Fortunately, he's getting lots and lots of snowballs. Finally finishes him off. And that is his third Robot Master of Mega Man 6. While his opponent, Khanster, has yet to get his first. This really close race we've had in our hands is opening up bit by bit as things are starting to slip away from Khanster. We got Plant Man next on the docket. Very, very difficult stage. We'll see it ramp up, particularly towards the end of the stage. Gliding past the Crusher. And sticking with Charged Buster for these turrets. Eventually we're going to see some flame shot, I'm pretty sure. Here it is. Particularly for this stone gorilla enemy. 6 shots with the flame shot to take him down, 24 with the buster. You understand why you make the switch before that mini boss fight. Gets him in 2 jumps. It's possible to get him in 1, but it is really, really tight. He'll take a 2 jump, I'm sure. Gorilla round 2. That's going to be a 3 jump. And now he's in to the spring section. Oh no, Khanster's caught in this cycle with this panda. The time it takes you to get hit, fall down to the fan, and get blown back up is about the same amount of time it takes for the panda to rearm itself and fire once again. So you can get caught in a loop there, constantly getting hit by the panda and getting blown back up by the fan. Luckily, he's able to break out of it with a little left-right maneuver and get into the Windman boss fight. Richard at a pivotal moment, bouncing up and down on the springs, pausing on each one to line up his route through the stage afterwards and to kill any enemies that might be in his way. He does not die, as so many have in this stage in the past. And that's a big opportunity for this gap to close between these 2 players that is now lost for Khanster. Fighting Plant Man with Blizzard Man's weapon is pretty tricky. It travels pretty slow and it starts out behind you. So if you want to be as fast as possible, you do like he did for that final hit. You turn around and you spawn the weapon right inside Plant Man's hitbox. Windman down for Khanster. Pausing a moment in Flame Man stage. Hopefully not a controller issue. That screwed him up a little bit. Back in Mega Man 4, I think it was. Maybe 3. Whenever any little blip happens with the controller connection, it's always scary. You never know when it's going to happen again. Richard is in Tomahawk Man stage. Halfway through Mega Man 6. Switching to Flame Shot pretty early here. Hopefully he can time his shots correctly to make it last throughout the stage. Wasting a couple on that capsule machine. On his quest to collect that same flame shot is Khanster. He's in the second half of Flame Man stage now. Going to be careful about these flame-throwing enemies. Gets a health drop. That's going to help him just a little bit for the boss fight. Windman's weapon does a fair amount of damage to him, and you can hit him fairly reliably, but it is also kind of tricky to... Whoop, get out of the fire! Okay, barely makes it out. Nice job. It's hard to avoid taking damage completely in the fight, so you definitely want at least going in. He's probably going to be okay. The amount of health he has. Sliding into the Flame Man boss fight. Flame Man is down as Richard enters the Tomahawk Man boss room. Plant Barrier is another case where you have just as much ammo as he has health. Except Tomahawk Man's a really scary boss to be right next to. All of his attacks do a lot of damage. And as you can see, he finishes the fight with not too much health at all. But he does finish the fight. So he's moving on now. 3 Robot Masters left. First up is Yamato Man. Pretty short stage. We'll see, he's maybe looking towards his final time at this point. I saw a gold split in Plant Man, and I'm seeing some green numbers. So while winning the race is important as a matter of pride, it never hurts to also go for personal best. Maybe we'll see him, if he gets backed into a corner, try to do some riskier stuff in order to end up in the green. Khanster is in Blizzard Man stage. At the subsection here, taking his time to kill these turret enemies. Looked like he missed about 2 cycles. Ooh, slipping into the water. Checkpoint's not too far back, but that still hurts all the same. Even lower on flame shot ammo now. Probably not going to switch to it, but this is the smart thing. Keep the buster. Save your flame shot ammo for the boss fight. Speaking of boss fights, Richard has entered the Yamato Man fight. He's got his tomahawks out. He's doing okay on health. Could be better. Could be worse. I think he's going to be okay here. Delivering that final blow. Point blank. Small sigh of relief. 2 Robot Masters left between him and the W. No bomb skip attempt from Khanster. You have to be feeling particularly saucy to go for that in an RTA setting.
Sorry about my absence. Had to set up for the next match.
Yeah, that's fine. It's hard to criticize you for helping out the channel in a very important way, while helping out the channel in a very important way.
How dare you skip out on your duty?
Ooh, death early on in Nightman stage. This Crusher Ceiling situation is kind of annoying. That's also going to be a game over for him.
Yeah.
Does select continue.
Still on PB pace, it seems like, so it's good for him.
Yeah, he's about a minute ahead, I think. I have his screen really small, so I can't tell if it's a 0 or a 5 or what. But at least a minute ahead.
Ooh, makes it. That was a really tiny jump to do at that point.
Pulling out the Yamato Spear to deal... Yamato Spear, rather. To deal with use shielded turret enemies. The Yamato Spear goes right through shields. Is quite useful against those and any knight-like bosses that may be carrying shields.
Very good against nobility.
Meanwhile, topping off his health is Khanster, waiting to see what Eddie had in store for him. Takes the health, wants everything he can get as he's in Plant Man stage. Typically, you don't die from losing your life in this stage, though. Typically, you die from getting knocked into a pit. Jumping over the mad nerds, not triggering them at all. Richard's into the bouncy castle. Gets hit by one of those spinies. His health is about half, but he should be all set to deal with Nightman. We're looking for Nightman to stay on the ground. He has a tendency to want to jump around. That can make it hard to hit him with a weapon like Yamato Spear. Opens up with an attack, and there he is. Taking to the skies. Everyone knows that knights in full plate are known for their acrobatics. Nightman, no exception. Does go down. Easy peasy. And there's now one Robot Master between Richard and the win and the PB. Exciting stuff. His opponent, Khanster, has Blizzard Man's weapon out, ready for Plant Man stage. Gonna be glad to get this over with. We'll see how he decides to play this fight. We've seen a lot of players get really aggressive. We've seen a lot of players play it really safe. I guess it depends on how comfortable you are with the plant fight and how much you really don't want to have to do that screen beforehand again. He is playing it super safe here. Safe strategy pays off, gets Plant Man down. So Richard is into the underwater spike section of Centaur Man stage. I did not see what he went for at the beginning of the stage, vis-a-vis Miracle Jump or some other technique of dealing with the Metroid. Maybe Plant Man's weapon, Plant Barrier, a good option on that first screen. Ooh. Got cold feet. Going for the jump across the spikes. So he is going to go ahead and wait. Gets it on the second go around. It's going to opt to pick up that health. Doesn't care what Eddie has for him. He doesn't want it. E-tank? Not even an E-tank? Nope, doesn't want it. Not when he's on PB pace. So he's pulled out the Night Crusher. Very helpful for this section with these submarines located in awkward spots. Almost falls into the water. Holds on. We'll see how risky he plays it on the waterfall. Does shoot those enemies.
I've seen claim so many people that are trying to rush for PB at the end. It's like PB, PB, PB. Ah, crap. Just so anxious.
Well, anxious or not, he keeps it together. He's into the boss fight. He's got tons of health, tons of ammo. I am absolutely sure we're going to have ourselves a PB.
PB. Pretty bold.
Pretty bold. Pretty bird. Centaur Man is dead. He is dead. The race is over. Richard has won. He's finished in first place with a time of 2:06:22.
Did you have
pretty
to put
sure.
it so morbidly? He dead?
He's dead. That's what happened to him. Oh, look at this
Speaking of,
webcam.
Khanster is dead.
I wouldn't put it like that with the player. Come on now. What are you? Sympathy for the robot master? The evil robot man? No thanks. Not me. I'm anti-robot, I guess.
Okay. Well, he did fall into spikes, but he's okay. He's making good
Richard's
recovery.
in there, like doing a heart with the camera, like celebrating. Let's focus on the positive vibes here.
Okay.
Well, if I wanted to put a negative spin on it, I could remind everyone the tournament. But their opponents were Papatot and Darkman, who are both really, really good at Mega Mans, so they're probably not going to feel too bad about losing to the likes of them, and they're going to feel pretty good, I think, about their times. Though honestly, Khanster way ahead of his PB at this point, about 7 minutes. So he's hoping probably that he could have gone out on a better note, but he's going to do what he can to rally in the back half of Mega Man 6 and finish strong for us. He's dealing with this Plant Man fight. He's got the health he needs to trade here, so he's able to
This is Tomahawk Man.
What did I say?
You said Plant Man.
Well, Plant Man is dead. He is dead, and now Tomahawk Man is dead. They're all dead. 3 Robot Masters left who are not dead. We got Gravity Man. Richard is fighting Gravity Man. Stage is pretty unique. Not a lot of upside down stages. As you can see, it switches back and forth as you go. So he's right side up, and he's off the screen. Actually, this is a new glitch just found by him. He's going to be warping to the end of the race. Actually,
Congratulations.
Yeah, he's done. He's done now. Very impressive trick by Richard.
Our local glitch hunters here, finding all this new stuff for us. We really appreciate all the glitch hunters in the community.
That's true, actually. There are people out there who don't really speedrun games, but they dive into code and they test things and they find setups for glitches and stuff. And they make speedruns better in lots of ways. So shout outs to the guys behind the scene, the sock folders of the world.
Yes, they also do a good job at fueling the YouTube comment sections of the community. So thank you, glitch hunters, for filling
all
with
those
love.
people. He's cheating, and then they come in and go, actually, this is what is happening.
Yes, and they also do a good job with explaining everything.
And then someone still says, but that's still cheating, and then it kind of moves on.
The never-ending battle.
Pretty decent Yamato Man stage coming out from Khanster. Approaching the boss door, so he's going to switch to the Tomahawk. Also does a pretty good job at dealing with these spring enemies. Takes 1 hit before the door, so it's pretty low on life. And Yamato Man is a robot master that can be hard to dodge when he does his jumping 3-way speeder attack. So hopefully we don't see too much of that. Opens up with it. Dodges the attack, though.
Yeah, 2 hits and he's going down, I think.
E-Tank to the rescue.
Now it's only 7 hits and he's going down. But he's got him. I don't know when they're putting me over to host this next match. I'm going to be restreaming the next match on Speedruns Live, which is between ogNdrahciR and Lightning, coming up sometime soon. So for all of you who are watching still, you can go watch that in a little bit. And I say a little bit because the time is indefinite and I have no idea when they're starting.
Well, it was scheduled for 6 o'clock. Run a little over here. Plans got switched around quite a bit last minute. So we're making do with the best we can. But Super Metroid Double Anti-Bingo is going to happen at 8 o'clock. And so unless both racers of the next race have something in mind for beating Mega Man in an hour and 20 minutes, that's not going to work. So we are going to restream that next race on SRL.
So that's Double Anti-Bingo will happen here at 8. And I think they decided 7 o'clock on Speedruns Live is what they said-ish, but, you know, that's... They don't want me to just do the commentary for the race. So, because I'm pretty tired.
I'm pretty... The word.
The words are hard.
Well, I thought you did a pretty good job, especially with the distractions of setting up a stream while commentating a different stream. We got Nightman. Khanster's late into the stage here. He's got a whole 14 minutes to finish before the next race starts on SRL. So in that regard, he is way ahead of pace. But I'm sure he would have wanted to be a little closer to his PB. He's about 7 minutes off, though it's looking like he can make up some ground in this stage if he has a nice Nightman fight. We'll see what kind of pattern he gets. Looking for him to stay on the ground.
He's got plenty of weapon energy. So.
Yeah, he can just kind of spam it at him. Make sure he gets those iframes. He does get a really good Nightman fight, and he's going to be making up some time in this stage.
Nightman was very obedient.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that you see him literally just stand in one place like that. Meanwhile, Richard is showing off some of the rest of Mega Man 6 for us. Final stage. Centaur Man coming up. Opting to stick with the Buster early on. Gonna wait for this Metroid enemy to come down. It's possible to sneak under him with a well-timed jump, but often you end up in a pit. Got this interesting wall-mounted boss fight on Richard's screen. Gets him down, kind of a clutch kill there.
Mm-hmm. That boss is annoying. I think most of the Wily and X bosses in 6 are annoying, especially the dragon boss that has like a really weird hitbox.
Oh yeah, hitting that guy with the Yamato Sphere, huge pain.
Mm-hmm. Especially since the Yamato Sphere already has a weird aiming mechanism.
Yeah, it goes up and down alternately with each shot.
Mm-hmm.
Damage boosting through these little turret guys at full health, so might as well go for it.
Definitely.
And gets the refill from Eddie. Here's this treacherous water section that you were talking about. Still the threat of falling into it after the screen transition here. Doesn't pause on that platform, throws out the Night Crusher, counting on it to connect with those falling jellyfish enemies, and it does. Damage boosts through the octopus off of the projectile, so he's actually got quite a bit of health going into the boss fight, and he's fixing to save about a minute on his splits for this one stage. Centaur Man gives him a walking pattern, that's what you want to see. Another one. perfect Centaur Man fight. Nice finish from Khanster. Gold split on
Very nice.
Centaur Man stage. He has finished in second place with a final time of 2:16.36. Pretty good finish at Centaur Man stage. Hopefully he's happy with it. His webcam's on, and he's pulling out the brick, and he's thumbs downing. He's not happy with his controller. He's looking into. He's on eBay right now, scrolling through, check the prices of controllers. I recommend. Actually, I have a SNES controller that I can play NES games with because the SNES controller actually works with an NES. It's just a square peg round hole situation with the connectors. So I bought extension cables for a Super Nintendo controller and an NES controller. And then I got my friend who knows what the hell he's doing to cut them in half and splice them together. So I now have an NES to SNES adapter, and I can use the awesome Super Nintendo controller to play NES games on console.
Very nice.
It is cool. I recommend it. Especially if your NES controller is giving you trouble the way it is for Khanster, who struggles through it, comes up with a 2:16.35. Both these players, unfortunately, eliminated from the 46 Robot Masters tournament, but
That's
both
okay. They can join
showing
me.
signs of improvement over the course of the tournament. And it's also just fun to be a part of things.
They can join me in the losers group. That's fine. It's not a bad.
We'll start
place
our
to
own tournament, and then you'll have another group of losers there. It's a never-ending cycle until you crown the ultimate loser. What a really weird way to have a competition. It's not the person who wins; it's the person who loses the most. Yikes! All right.
Whoever loses advances.
All right. We got a finished race on our hands over here, and one waiting in the wings on Speedruns Live. So, what you guys should do is get real familiar with multi-Twitch, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. If you want Mega Man, you're gonna have to choose here. If you want Mega Man, you want to go to Speedruns Live in about 5 minutes. That's twitch.tv/speedrunslive. Type, putting in chat. If you want to see Super Metroid, you should probably go over there anyway and just hang out for a little bit, because Super Metroid's going to be here in an hour on twitch.tv/speedgaming. I don't know if Doisum is still here or if he's scrambling behind the scenes.
I'm doing both.
I want to thank you very much for commentating and for restreaming as well. Yeah, well, you helped me out a lot. So thank you very much. I'll let you go and do your thing. I have been Mythical 9. I've been
still are.
Yeah, I was Mythical. Now I'm Mythical 10. Actually, I leveled up in the course of this commentary.
Congratulations.
The puns and the balloon comment actually was what pushed me over the top. So I'm pretty happy about it. Mythical 10 here. Hope you guys enjoyed the race. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the tournament. There's other stuff going on this channel. Obviously, Super Metroid coming up. But you can check out all the events we have going on. I don't know who actually typed it first. It depends. I see myself as doing it, but it's possible you see yourself as doing it.
Yeah, I've got.
So we don't know.
Confirmation bias here.
Third party. We'll see who won that race. Other races happening on this channel. Donkey Kong Country 2, pretty good game. Lots of people speedrun that game. Really cool tournament coming together for that. That's going to start in November. There is a Shovel Knight tournament that is being put together for November 21st. Whoa. That is over a month away. You know what that means? That means you could go to Steam, if you don't have the game already, pick it up for like $15 or whatever, and learn to speedrun Shovel Knight over the course of this next month, and then join the tournament.
Here's my question. Is it Shovel Knight, or is it what's his name? Not Spectre, but the other character.
The Plague guy.
Plague Knight, yeah.
I think it's going to be Shovel Knight.
Okay.
It's going to be typical any percent. Though, yeah, there's some really cool DLC recently for Shovel Knight with a new playable character. And yeah, that's just one. There's also Zero Mission, Metroid Zero Mission. We're not done with Metroid yet. And actually, I think Super Metroid 100% is going to happen next year. So lots of stuff going on the channel. You can follow us here. You can follow us on Twitter at Speed Gaming Show. And we'll have some VODs and stuff coming up as we get them up. We're a little slow with that part, but I promise we will get them done. So 5 minutes away, Mega Man Speedruns Live. You guys should go over there. Come back at 8 if you want to see Super Metroid. I am actually Mythical 9. I lied, I didn't level up. I'm still Mythical 9. I've been your commentator, and I've been psyched to bring you this race. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll see you next time.
And this is Doysum signing off, and basically signing off to another channel. So head yourself over to Speedruns Live, where we'll have Terex versus Lightning coming up soon. So see you guys soon.